Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is April 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day. For the most part, the news was pretty quiet. I saw a few joke posts. Someone had posted that BTCC is now listing Pi and it skyrocketed to $10. It's a nice dream, but it's false, of course. BTCC has been selling Pi for quite a while. You should know that any exchange that has not passed KYB does not have a Pi business wallet. And for that reason, they cannot exchange actual Pi. Instead, what they have are tokens that are based on Pi. And at some point when they are able, then perhaps you'll be able to move Pi from these exchanges to and from your wallet. Until then, all you can do is buy and sell them within the exchange itself. Be careful with that. Today, I'm going to go over the most common questions that I see in the comments and in the in-app chat forums. Hopefully, this will provide some information for you. I know it won't satisfy everybody. There's just no way to do that. But before we do that, let's get into some of the metrics from the last 24 hours. The circulating supply is 6.786 billion, and that's up 11.9 million from the previous 24 hours. That means that the Pi network migrated 11.9 million Pi in 24 hours. Before they clawed back all of the migrations, there were days that had higher migrations than this, but this is the first migration of a really significant size since they've resumed the migrations. So that's good news. Hopefully that continues. The migrated unlocked rewards is up 5.1 million, meaning that 5.1 million more Pi is now tradable on the exchanges. That also means that there's a lot of pressure on the price. There's not a lot of demand. It's not listed on any major exchanges yet. So the influx of all of this Pi is going to put pressure on the price downward. It's just a fact of life. So you have two camps here. You have some people who want their Pi migrated, and then you have other people who complain about the price. You can't satisfy both of these groups of people. If you migrate more Pi, the price will go down until something changes, which creates more demand. That's just not happened yet. Expect some churn here. Now let's take a look at the price action. The current price of Pi is 66 cents. If you watch technical traders, 66 cents appears to be the magic number because they consider it what's called a bottom. In theory, it shouldn't go lower than that. I'm not a fan of technical trading. Now, I'm not knocking people who do it. They obviously find merit in it. And if they're successful, then at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So the price is 66 cents, which is down 5.48% from the last 24 hours. And the market cap is 4.51 billion, which is down 5.31%. And the daily trading volume is at $168 million, which is down by 25.13%. Let's get to the questions that a lot of people ask. The overall questions that I see all the time. Number one, when will migration happen? Now, the most common form of this is when will second migration happen? Technically, there is no such thing as second migration. There's no line in the sand that says, okay, now we're starting second migrations. No. Migrations happen all the time, continuously. And they're in a queue. Right now, they're processing through all of the backed up migrations. most of all of those are people who've never been migrated before. At some point, the queue will get to people who've already been migrated once, and they'll get migrated again. This is your second migration. But it only happened organically through moving through the queue. So there's no such thing, no line in the sand that says, okay, second migrations have now started. That's not a thing. So as far as when it's going to happen, it'll happen when the algorithm gets to you in the queue, no sooner. And when that will be is anybody's guess. But I will say, the more migrations that happen, the sooner it will get there. And now it looks like migrations are happening at increasing volumes with regularity. You know, regardless of how long you've waited, your timer really starts now because migrations just weren't really happening. That time doesn't count. I know you don't like that answer, but it just doesn't. Sorry. There were no migrations happening, so the queue wasn't moving. And with respect to first migration, it's the same answer. When the algorithm gets to you in the queue, you will be migrated. As long as you are fully KYC'd. If you're pending or tentative, you won't be migrated. Simple as that. Speaking of tentative, the other question I get is, why am I in tentative KYC? I've been a member for X years. I'm a validator and I've been fully validated and now I'm tentative. The Pi Core team is constantly updating its KYC algorithms. They are to improve and streamline it, but every time they make an adjustment, they run the algorithm through everybody. And sometimes that causes the individual's account to be flagged with some sort of irregularity. So it doesn't matter how long you've been KYC'd. If the algorithm finds something about your data that doesn't look right, you will be moved to tentative status. The biggest problem I see is that for most of us, we're not given any indication as to what the problem is or what to do about it. And that is frustrating. I'll give that to you. I've been tentative now for the fourth time for about a month. Other times, people will be moved to tentative KYC and it'll tell you what's wrong. Either there's something with your profile, your email, your verifications, liveness checks. That's rare, I think. It doesn't often tell you. And you're just sitting there looking at a tentative KYC status. So I get it. It's frustrating. When it will resolve? Well, who knows, really? A lot of times, if you change your password, re-verify your email, and re-verify your wallet, it will open up. It did for me the first 3 times. But this last time, no. And I think it's because of the liveness check. The liveness check takes photos, and those photos are compared to your ID that you submitted when you did your KYC. So if there is significant difference, the validators are going to have a problem. And here's a double-edged sword. A lot of validators are now tentative, so they can't validate anyone. So the pool of validators has gone down. So that's going to just delay things. It's an unfortunate situation because the very people who can help resolve these issues are also tentative to a large extent. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I've explained why you're tentative, and I can't explain when it will unlock. All I can tell you is wait. Validator rewards. I get this one a lot. When will our validator rewards be released? Now you have to understand something. With all this mess around KYC, validator rewards aren't going anywhere. These rewards are for validating KYC. If there's any issues with the people that you've previously validated, then they're not validated and you're not going to be rewarded. And what makes this worse is that every validation costs 1 Pi. For a single validation, if all goes well, at least 3 other people look at that validation, which means that that one pi is divided by at least 3. So at best, you could expect to get 1/3 of a pi for each validation that you do. And there are other factors that lower that even more. So for example, if somebody pays 1 pi and does their validation and then has to do other steps to re-verify because they've been moved to tentative or whatever, that's different people looking at those KYC validations, which means that they too get a cut of that 1 pi. So at the end of the day, it is unknown how much actual pi validators will be rewarded. But I can tell you, it's not going to be a lot. If you're expecting otherwise, then you kind of need to do a reality check. It's not that big a deal, and clamoring for it is going to disappoint you. And as far as when it's going to be released, that's anybody's guess. Until they sort out all this mess with KYC, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Now, this is a big one. Unverified Pi. We had this big deadline in the sand to finish KYC or your Pi coin to be forfeited, and a whole lot of people had forfeited Pi. But that left millions of people with remaining unverified Pi. If you notice, the only Pi that gets added to your transferable balance is the Pi that's represented by the base mining rate. Everything else, which includes any bonuses that you get for lockups, for your earning team, security circle, anything gets put into unverified. Now, I don't quite understand all of that because certain things have nothing to do with verifying other people. For example, I run a node. That node gives me a bonus. That bonus doesn't go to my transferable balance immediately. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Again, unverified Pi is directly linked to KYC. Until KYC is passed, nobody that contributes Pi to your unverified balance is going to have that Pi released to you. Additionally, they have to also be migrated. They have to be fully KYC'd and they have to be migrated to mainnet. Only then does the algorithm allow that Pi to go to you. Until just a few days ago, there were no migrations happening. And like I said, there are lots of people still having issues with KYC. Now that migrations are happening, it would not surprise me to start seeing some of this unverified Pi make it into people's transferable balances. And I think it will go there first. The question is whether it will go straight from unverified to your wallet or go to your transferable balances. And I think it will do that. I could be wrong. I don't know. I've never seen it happen. I think that unverifieds will start unlocking soon. I'm asking people who watch this video, if you notice unverified Pi being moved, let us know. Because that's very useful information and a lot of people are clamoring for this. But until then, there's no answers as to when. So stop asking when. Nobody can tell you. It'll happen when it happens. Now, of course, I get a lot of people asking me what I think the price will be. Will it go up? Will it go down? Should I buy? Should I sell? I don't give that kind of advice. Now, I will tell you, I have no plans on selling my Pi anytime soon. But if you want predictions on what the price is going to be, there's many other content creators out there providing their guesses. I will tell you if I think it's going to go down or go up. Now, I'll tell you if it's going to go down because I have a pretty darn good feeling that it will, just based on numbers. But whether it'll go up, I'd have to have a really good reasons for saying that. And I think in long term it will go up, of course. But that's not the same as saying, oh, well, it's going to hit $3 next month. Okay, that's not what I do. I do think eventually the price will go up, but things have to happen. Major exchanges have to start listing Pi. so that we have more of a customer base to actually buy Pi and create that demand. Right now we have low demand and a increasing number of Pi looking to be sold or possibly sold. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the price going down. Now, to go up, announcing a Binance listing or Coinbase or Kraken, that will boost prices, at least in the near term. But the only thing that's going to really boost the price is if the Pi core team and DApp developers and strategic partners all come to fruition and do what they need to do to provide utility and value for the Pi coin. If that doesn't happen, then the game's over. Okay. So right now we all have to think that the Pi core team knows what they're doing and it's going to happen. Those are the best answers I can give you to these common questions. They're probably not the answers you wanted, but it's the truth. That's how things work. You know, the people who were asking when and why and how much, you need to stop asking that because those answers don't exist. Not by anybody. Even the Pi core team can't tell you because the best they can do is flip a switch to allow the machinery to run. What comes out the other end of that machine, even they don't know. Nobody has the concrete answers that you're looking for. Be patient. Don't panic. And remember, the success of Pi Network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.